Hi, I'm Peggy,
And I'm Marci, and this is No More Bullshift.
where we turn why me into watch me.
Ready to shift? Let's go. Okay, one. Hey, Peggy.
Hey, Marci.
How are you today?
I'm good. How about you?
Good, good. We've got a really great subject today. We're on our third pillar, which is belief, trust, and we're like just trusting the outcome of the thing we want to manifest and kind of letting go. It's the art of detachment.
Right, which is, how do you feel about that? Do you have a hard time with that?
You know, I definitely have some examples of the past where that has been hard, and I think, but I also think it's freeing in a way when you can let go and just like relax into like God's got your back, the universe is working in your favor. You know, if you can let go and just be there.
So I kind of struggle with this one because there's such a level of trust in that whole theory that God has your back, the universe has your back. And, you're kind of leaning into that thought process of co-creating. So it's not just you, even though it feels like just you, because you are the physical vessel doing the thing, right?
Yes.
That's taking the aligned action because we've already talked about we're going with manifestation. We set the intention. It's an authentic, clear, specific intention of the thing we want to manifest. We're taking the aligned action. So we're not just taking action, right? We're not just doing everything. We're doing the things that intuitively feel like the right next move, the next step, and then the next step after that. And now we're in this place where we're kind of like, okay, but it's not here yet. What now? Mm-hmm. And that's really where we have to detach from the outcome, the timing.
Right.
How it's going to show up or when it's going to show up.
Right.
And I think that's really hard because we're focusing on it.
Yes.
While at the same time, we're detaching from how it happens and when it happens because we're trusting the universe to line everything up for us or God to line everything up for us.
Right.
So do you have an example of where maybe this has worked out in your life?
Yes. So, I feel, okay, I've got a couple examples. One, I tried years and years ago to have a fourth baby. And it was, now that you guys have heard it from Cam on this podcast, if you haven't listened to that episode,
Go back and listen.
You should. It's so funny. Like, he had a vasectomy. He had the vasectomy undone. We like tried. And it became such an obsession. This is the time it didn't work out. It became such an obsession for me, almost like a false idol for me. And it didn't happen. And then I finally let go of it. And then years later, and so I did one round of like IUI, which is like a type of fertility where they just like take the sperm and put it where it belongs. And I think it's like 25% likely that it'll come out. But it costs money, it's over $1,000. And Cam said, I don't really want to do the whole fertility route, and I said, that's fine. Like, let's try it one time and we'll be done. And then he just looked at me and said, like, let's take these 3 children and just travel the world. Like, we're so fortunate. We have 3 healthy children. I was like, yes, you're right. So then I let it all go. I'll never forget, we were watching Orange is the New Black. And on this particular episode, everyone's getting pregnant. And I was like, I was cleaning the bathroom today and I found an old pregnancy test. And we were drinking martinis, okay? And he's like, go take that test. And I was like, okay. And so I go up, I take the pregnancy test, and I'm freaking pregnant.
Wow.
And buzzing on a martini, and I'm like, OMG. And I come downstairs, and the look on my face, he's like, you are joking. You are joking. So anyways, I was like, oh my gosh. And so I did all the things you do. I stopped drinking the martini, okay? And then like the next day, I gave up coffee and all this stuff. So I went and had an ultrasound, and the lady was like, you're measuring like a week small. So it might make it, it might not. And I was like, okay, that's very honest. Thank you. So anyways, I just kind of went on with my life, and we happened to have a vacation planned. So I was at the beach, and I was just kind of praying about it all. And I actually like just said to God, as I watched my 3 children playing in the waves, I just said, whatever will bless our lives, God, that's what we want. Whether it's this baby or not happening and just 3 children Like, that's what we want. And so then on the way home, certain symptoms, like my boobs weren't tender anymore and stuff. And I was like, I don't think this has worked. I think it's done. And so sure enough, I had another ultrasound. Like, yep, it's not going to make it. No, it's done. And I was like, okay, no problem. And, it went through that, pass all the things at home and stuff. It's really like National Geographic magazine. But it was weird that the minute I let go, it happened. And I'm very happy with my life with 3 children. I'm not like longing. And I think for some reason I was meant to go through that experience of a miscarriage. I think I relate to so many women on a different level. But that is maybe not a good example. But
it's a good example of what we're going to talk about a little bit later, which is how when things don't work out. Does that mean it wasn't meant for you? Does that, like, what does that mean?
Right.
So,
exactly.
we will revisit that because I think that's important.
Yes. And I will say, I've shared a few times on this podcast where I've prayed about something, gotten really quiet, and then I can like hear this still small voice. And I don't know if that's like the Holy Spirit or God or
your higher self.
Yeah, I don't know, but I hear it. And when I prayed about the baby, to have a baby or not to have a baby, I very clearly heard the voice say, God's voice or whoever, I'll bless you both ways. So I think had we had one or chased this really hard or adopted, that would have been a blessing. And I think the fact that we didn't and we have 3 healthy, wonderful children, blessing. And I think sometimes in life that is the case.
Well, I think that was you actually letting go of the outcome.
Right.
Because that's a perfect example of how you detached on the outcome in that scenario. I mean, you were holding on so tightly in the beginning and then you let go.
Yes.
And then you have a martini and, I actually have
Yes.
And Steve and I had a similar experience. We had secondary infertility issues and we weren't doing IVF, but we were doing like some artificial insemination stuff. And I had to get my self shots every day because I was having all these miscarriages. My body was attacking the fetus. And there was just a lot that went into it. And by the 3rd try, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, it's just not meant to be. We are meant to just have one baby, maybe. And so we're going to try this 3rd time and then we're done. And then we're just done. And we'll just say, okay, we already have this plan in motion. We'll see it out. And then we're just going to see ourselves as blessed.
Right.
And we were moving the day we were supposed to go do our parts in the process. And I was like, we're so stressed out. Like, we've got to go sign the papers, selling one house, go sign the papers to buy the next house. One of us is meeting with the mover at one place while the other one's down doing their part. And then we flip to go to the other place. I mean, so many moving parts, right? All the stress. I'm like, this is never going to work. So it just wasn't even something I was thinking about. And don't you know, Caroline is here. And that was the day. Like, I know the day we got pregnant because it was that day. But I had detached totally from the outcome. I just let it go. I stopped putting all my worth and my value into if this thing happens.
Yes. And you were busy with other things.
Yeah,
your mind was everywhere else.
On totally other things. So once you let go of holding on so tightly, white-knuckling the end result, that gave the universe a chance to go, oh, okay. There's space here now for us to work because she's not working against it. She's not like sitting here trying to do it her own way.
Obsessing with it. Yes, in her own way. That's good.
In her own way. And I think it's a really good example that you gave. So what is an example where it's worked out for you?
Ooh, from like just letting go.
From letting go. From having an intention and then just detaching from the end result of how it's going to look.
I mean, part of me thinks like in one way, like I didn't try to manifest, but like opening the salon, because it was just one door after the next opened, and I just kept saying yes to the next door. And
you don't see that as you had manifested it?
I felt called to open it. It wasn't my own idea, I felt like.
So here's the thing, and I think this is that's why I'm interrupting you. I think this is such a good point, is we are all in a constant state of manifestation. Everything in your life, good or I'm quote unquote bad, is an act of manifestation. We are all manifesting our reality in every moment of every day.
Yes.
Because we are taking action towards
Yes.
something.
Or inaction.
Or inaction towards something. And we have an end result as a result of that.
Yes.
So we are setting an intention or we're not setting an intention. And we are then taking action, whether it's a conscious action or just action. We're just showing up and doing the next thing
Yep.
that feels like the thing, whether we're doing it actively or inactively, it's happening.
Right.
And then we are thinking about the outcome one way or the other. We are attaching to an outcome one way or the other. Are we detaching and we're letting go? So we're letting things just flow naturally. Like when you were looking at opening up your salon, you weren't thinking 10 steps ahead. You were just thinking, okay, this is the next thing I need to do to get to this place I want to go. And
Yes.
you weren't attached to, am I going to make an X amount of money this year off of this salon? Or will
Right.
I, end up having 100 clients right off the get-go? You weren't thinking those steps ahead.
I really wasn't.
Right.
And I actually already had such peace around it because I had all these clients that had already been with me so long, and I knew they would come with me, So I wasn't worrying about all the details because I already felt like, oh, the details are fine. The numbers work.
You just were trusting.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, because you knew you were in alignment.
Right. Right.
You knew, I've got this prompt to do this thing. It's not my idea.
Yes.
This is just dropping to me, and I am saying, yes, I will show up and I will do this thing.
Absolutely.
And then you're taking the next step and the next step, and it's all in alignment. So how could it not work out for you?
Exactly. And I wasn't obsessing and fearful of like the things that could go wrong.
That's such a good point.
You know what I mean? I think some people they get so obsessed with what could go wrong, and wasn't even on my radar.
But I'm going to assume that during that process, things went wrong.
Oh,
I'm
sure.
Like things weren't simple. Something showed up late or,
Yes. I remember I had to order this giant shampoo bowl. Like it has a big, like basically you lay down and get your hair washed. And they wanted to drop it off. And they wanted to drop it off. I forget. It was either at my house or the salon. And I wanted it to go to the other spot. And they were like, basically begging me for the other address. And I was like, no, I'm not going to give it to you. No, it has to go to this place, only this place. And they're like, well, what is the other address? I was like, I'm not telling you. Like, I was like, so there were some little cute hiccups, but yeah, I don't know. I just did it.
Well, and this is a really good example because you took the aligned action. You were just taking the next step. You weren't thinking 10 steps ahead. You weren't thinking about what the outcome was going to look like. You were trusting the process all along. And when something got sticky or hard or whatever, you were just like, okay, we're just going to work through that. It wasn't something that you were in this place of fear.
Right.
Or you weren't sure that what you were doing was the right thing. You weren't second guessing yourself. You had committed.
Yes.
You were going. There was no way it wasn't going to work.
Right.
Because you trusted it.
I was excited and peaceful.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just the sense because you were in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had the thing that you were manifesting, whether you were consciously manifesting it or not, you were in alignment with what you were co-creating with the universe. The universe dropped this idea into your head, this unseen realm that we talked about. And you said, well, I can create that studio. Sure. It took you a little bit to get on board with that.
Totally.
But then once you were like, how can I fail? This is meant to be.
Totally.
This is exactly what I'm meant to be doing right now.
Totally.
And you had such trust and faith and belief in that
yeah.
there was no other outcome.
Totally.
Even when maybe there were some signs that this wasn't going to be as easy as you thought it was going to be.
Totally. And I don't know if this story totally relates, but I'm going to share it. And I can always cut it if not. But so after I opened the salon, that was in November, then come like January or February, every day I would drive home from work and I would hear that same still small voice inside say, get ready, I'm going to use you. That's all it said. And it said, get ready, I'm going to use you. And I just jumped ahead in my little mind and I was like, yes, I'm ready. We will throw a benefit. I thought we'll throw a party at the salon. Okay, maybe it'll benefit Down syndrome. I have a cousin with Down syndrome. Okay, great. And I just kept hearing every day, get ready. I'm going to use you. Get ready. I'm going to use you. And then come like maybe March, April, May, somewhere in there. Almost every single one of my clients shared a really heavy story. Like someone was getting divorced, someone had a terrible health issue, someone's dog died. Like I cried with my clients, I prayed with my clients, I prayed over my clients. I shared hardships I had gone through that related to their story. One client actually came in and she had like massive bandages on her neck, and I'd overlapped her with another client. And I'll never forget this. I was like, "Whoa, what happened to your neck?" And she said, I tried to kill myself.
Wow, she shared it very openly.
And she was like,
Wow.
I cut so deep, Marci. I knew for sure I'd hit my jugular, like all this blood. And then I woke up a couple hours later and I cut it again. And I was like so sure I had hit this vein or artery or whatever's in there, and went to sleep and then woke up. And she's like describing the sound. And this other client is like, and it's funny because later the other client was like, "You were so chill, Marci." Just like, "Oh, yeah. So anyways, she had cut the crap out of her neck, and she had cut her neck because her husband was leaving her, and it just like crushed her emotionally. And even though he was like fat and ugly, and she was adorable. So there's that. But
Karma.
anyways, so she then calls and goes to the hospital. He actually drove her to the hospital and got bandaged up, and she had to stay there for a day. And I remember thinking in that moment, I wonder if
Wait, who called the hospital? He did or she did?
she went to the hospital. He drove her.
I see. He found her. He took her.
He called her, or she called him and
She
said,
did want, so she wanted to change things eventually.
yes. She said after like the second time of big cutting and like for sure hitting it, she was like, "Guess I'm living." Okay. And she did tell me, she went, when you do that, you have to stay the night in the mental hospital. And she's like, "There's a bunch of crazy people there." And I was like, hey now, let's put that stone down. Let's not
All
throw
right,
that.
little pot.
Exactly. So anyways, but I remember thinking, I wonder if that night when she was chopping the crap out of her neck, if that was one of the nights that voice said, "Get ready, I'm going to use you. Like I'm going to save this girl's life, and I need you because you're going to talk to her." And she was like really devastated about this divorce. And I shared this story the other day at a talk I gave. And she was like, "What am I going to do? He's leaving me, And I said, "You are going to go get a hot outfit. And then you're going to come in here and we're going to blow out your hair on the day of the court, like hearing thing or whatever for the divorce. And you're going to walk into that office like a bombshell and make every guy in there be like, what the flip is this loser doing? Like, why is he divorcing this gorgeous, gorgeous girl?" So anyways, I say all that and like, we want something. We want to manifest it. We want this salon or we want this whatever, beautiful
Marriage.
bathroom or a marriage or kids. And also, I think sometimes the universe is like, "I'm going to give it to you. And then, baby, we're going to use it for something so much greater and bigger than you can even imagine. We're going to help people. We're going to console people. We're going to hug people and cry with people and pray for them and help them. And we're going to just use it for way bigger things than you can even dream of."
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that's the beautiful thing when you are in alignment. Because when you are in alignment, that thing in the unseen realm that kind of pops into your head as an idea, and you're like, this doesn't really make a lot of sense. And then you realize, okay, I can't let go of this idea. Like I'm either going to do it the easy way or the hard way, but I am being nudged into action, an aligned action. And then you start to do that. You can't see the outcome. You don't know why you were the one
Right.
that was on that frequency of that idea.
Yeah, that you got the idea.
That you got the idea. You don't know why you were the one who was tapped, but you were.
Yes.
Because there was something in you bigger than that thing.
Yes.
And so what the universe saw in you was somebody who had the skill set to be very empathetic, yet not get energetically depleted by that kind of story.
Yeah.
So you can hear story after story all day, and rather than have that be porous and take that on yourself, you are able to keep that boundary in place so that you can be the sounding board, so you can be the voice of reason, so that you can use that big, beautiful, brilliant brain and heart to say, hey, have you thought about looking at it this way from a place of neutrality, which is
Totally.
a gift a lot of people don't have. And you can walk away, and I have heard you say so many times, I just had the best day of my life. And you had like 12 clients back to back on a 12, 14-hour day. And you're like, I'm so energized. My job is so much fun. It never drains you. In
true.
fact, it feeds you.
Yes.
You were exactly the right person for this role.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why it is a single chair business.
Right.
Right? There's no distractions. It's you and them,
Yes.
one-on-one in this very safe, beautiful, enclosed, nurturing space. There's so many reasons why it worked out exactly the way that it did that you never could have conceptualized.
Exactly.
You never would have known. But what you did do is say yes.
Right.
That prompt is on my heart. I'm not gonna say this needs to be a benefit. I need to make a charity be the benefactor of my business, right?
Yeah.
I'm not like that I like that idea, but that's my egoic idea.
Yes.
Because I have a family member who's impacted by this, but there's somebody else out there that's going to impact
that
that
100%.
specific mission.
100%.
This was your mission, and you just kept showing up and going, okay, that's still small voice. I'll be ready. I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm ready,
Totally.
whatever it is.
Totally. I totally agree.
And that we can't get to that place if we are white knuckling the end result. If we are trying to control, there's no space for you to get into alignment with what that actual outcome is supposed to look like because you're too busy trying to navigate things to go your way.
Right.
The way
Well, from
you
the
think it
ego.
should go. From the ego.
Not from a higher power.
Right. But
I
if you
agree.
can just say the only thing that matters is that I am always in aligned action and I am taking the next step and trusting that the next step after that is going to reveal itself to me.
Totally.
And you're in that complete state of trust and belief, I can't fail because I'm in alignment. I am doing exactly what I am meant to do. I can't fail. Even when I fail, it's redirection, it's not failure.
Yes.
It's now that was the way it was meant to be. I was meant to take this path to then pivot and go this way.
Totally agree.
And I liken this to a GPS system. And we've used this analogy before about you put in the navigation, right? You know where you want to go. So I'm just going to use my own self for an example. I know I am on a road trip going 14 hours from, Centerville, Ohio to Portland, Maine to see my oldest daughter, Sarah. So I put it all into my GPS system. I don't doubt. I trust. It says it's going to
get
be
you there.
13
Yes.
hours and 45 minutes. I
Great
trust
example.
that.
Yes.
And so I get in my car and I start driving and I go. And guess what? I might get rerouted on the way.
True.
And so my GPS pops up and they're like, okay, you're going to have to now pivot. Do you want to switch directions? You click the little button that says yes. It totally redoes the GPS. And you go, okay, I'm going to go that way. I don't doubt it. I just follow the GPS. And eventually I end up in Portland, Maine. Now, did I 100% get there the way that I thought I was going to get there? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But that was none of my business. My business was I am putting in where I want to go. And then I'm doing my part, turning on my car, putting it in, trusting the GPS, getting in there and driving. And sometimes I have to pivot, sometimes I don't. And it's all good.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's all good. I eventually get where I was meant to go. Now, if I tried to say, no, I don't trust the GPS. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to follow this thing based on memory
You're gonna cowboy
or
it
the
there.
way I want to go. No, I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. And Steve does this sometimes. And I'm like, why are you doing this? You're making this so much harder. He cannot trust the GPS.
Ooh, interesting.
So he will get in the car and it drives me crazy because he's always like, what exit am I taking in 30 miles? And I'm like, I don't know. We'll just worry about it when we get there. The
Right.
GPS will tell us, but as we, it's going to give us a little thing and 5 miles out saying you're going to get off at exit 193A and then we get off at 193 or maybe it's going to be 195B. I don't know. He's like, no, we got to look. We got to look. I'm like, but why? Why do we need, he wants to control the outcome.
Yes.
And he wants to be thinking, no, I think there's a better way. And I'm like, but it is giving you the best way.
Right.
That's its job, is to give you its best way. And when it reroutes you, it's giving you the next best way.
Yeah.
Because something has changed along
Yes,
the
yes.
way. And you just have to trust that. Why do you have to decide the outcome yourself.
Right.
Right? And
There
it's
you
just
go.
like, why can't you just enjoy the drive? Because he's so busy looking at it the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's in there and it's like putting us in danger and it's not safe. And it's like, just trust. Can you just
Right.
trust? Right? We've done everything we're supposed to do. Let it do its job now.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, look at it as the GPS of the manifestation pillar is that the art of detachment, but also that belief, trust, and faith
Yeah.
that you're going to get where you're supposed to go.
And that feels so easy and light described like that. Like your job is to make sure there's like gas in the tank and you have your hands on the steering wheel, but you do not have to know which highway exit is which or which direction is going to prevent you from running into, a car accident that's a traffic jam, it's just easier.
Right. There are a ton of variables that are going to come up along the way that are
Yes.
outside of anybody's control.
That's right.
And if you just sit and worry about those the whole time, you're not
Yeah.
listening to your favorite podcast, by the way, ours.
Yes, hello.
Hello, this is your road trip message to just turn us on. No, but you're not listening to your favorite podcast or, singing along to your favorite tunes or eating
Right.
your favorite bougie snack in the car like
Yes.
Marci does.
Oh,
It's like a
man.
freaking buffet. Like you are missing the journey, the joy in the journey when you're trying to hold on so tightly. And part of it is the journey. Because think of
Yes.
all the things you learned
Right.
opening your salon that you took into
Yes.
so many other areas in your life, parenting,
Right.
all the other
Yes.
entrepreneurial ideas that you've had.
A
There was
million
so
things.
many lessons.
Yes, I learned so. It's a yin and yang. I mean, I learned so much from my clients, and I try to teach and share with them when it's appropriate to. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think you're exactly right. You hear it all the time. I know personally I can struggle with this because I'm such like a little Energizer bunny, but really, if you can find joy in the journey, that is huge. Even like weight loss comes to mind because somebody reached out to me, Peggy, and you've really like this podcast, and you have really like touched their hearts.
Oh my gosh, this makes me so happy.
But I think that the joy is in like if they can enjoy it as they go. Not I'll be happy when I weigh 190, but like I'll be proud of myself and happy each little step of the way.
Yeah, and that's such a good point that you're making is there's so much more that comes out of manifesting the thing you want than the actual thing you want. There's confidence. There's trust that you didn't even know you were capable of.
Yeah.
That you're going to take into the next thing, like the proof that you're co-creating, that you're being guided. Like there's such a sense of security when you get to that place that you've proven to yourself that's actually true. Like your journey to open up your salon is a prime example of you being guided all the way through.
Yes.
And when you have that, when the tough times come, and they're gonna come,
Right.
we aren't bypassing a difficult life by being in alignment by any means, but what we are bypassing is a lot of the pain. Because what happened with you is there is no shadow of doubt that you are beloved, that you are guided, that you are held, that there is somebody in that somebody's in that unseen realm arranging things in your favor.
Totally.
And when things are hard, you can fall back on that.
Yes. Actually, like, I don't know which Bible story it is, but I know in the Old Testament, it talks about there was like a tribe and they had a big staff, like a big stick, and they would like scribe on it all the miracles God had performed for them. And it was to be a reminder in the hard times, like, remember when we were saved from this and guided from this and protected about this. And it was just almost like that laundry list of all the things, all the ways, in a reminder, like, you're not alone. You are so loved and so protected and so cared for. This too will work out just fine.
Yeah. And I think as you were saying that, I was thinking, well, that would be a good challenge to put out to everybody is now like go do that work. Like sit down and make your guided list.
Totally.
Even if you don't believe.
Right.
Even if you don't believe. And it's just you feel like it's guiding you. There's some truth in that. It's your higher self is in there. That's future Marci, future Peggy is saying, take this step, take that step. whatever, or your inner child is
Right.
saying, let's do this, let's do that. But make that list. Think of the moments that were really difficult. You're not in that moment perhaps today, or maybe you are. And think back to the other difficult moments that came and went.
Yeah, exactly.
And how did you get out of those? What were the things that happened along the way?
Right.
Where did you see the miracle? Because there's probably a miracle in there. There's probably a moment. Like, I'm going to give an example of when I didn't make cheerleading, which I've used as something that created a little bit of a wound for me because of, in a past episode. But I had never looked at it until I started to do the inner work from that lens. That kind of surprised me when some of what I had held subconsciously from that experience and how it held me back through, a few decades of life. But so my sophomore year, I made varsity cheerleading, was the only, freshman that it was for my sophomore year, that freshman that made it for my sophomore year, whatever. I lost all my friends, jealousy, hurt, pain, all the things that go with that.
The classics.
That left the wound. But then I self-sabotaged, not knowingly, but looking back, I know that I did. I didn't make it. I didn't make it my junior year. And so I was devastated. On top of it, I lost all my friends because I was the best cheerleader, and now I'm the worst, and I didn't make it, and all the things. But what happened is because of my pride and ego, I couldn't stand. So on football days, you wear your cheerleading uniform, and that's always like a badge of honor, especially in Florida where like cheerleaders are like, the thing. And so I never wanted to be there on those days. And so they just started this work program where you go to school half the day, and then you work the other half of the day.
Nice.
And so I did that. My best friend who also had quit cheerleading, she did that. And so the two of us were in this work program, and we would leave school and always go get lunch together, and then we would go to our jobs. And I had gotten this job in retail.
Yes.
So I had started working at Burdine's department store, and, I was working full time, and it was the work program. I got a grade for it. And so, I put a lot of effort into it or whatever. And I was just the sales associate in the children's department in this very seasonal community that we lived in Florida that, you saw a big influx. And when you didn't have the influx of people during season, then you saw this like lull. Mm-hmm. And I would get bored because it was not in season and we weren't having a lot of traffic. And I would get really bored on the sales floor. And I'd be like, looking around. And I think I'm just going to rearrange the way the sales racks look. This, I think I'm going to put all this together. I'm going to change this wall merchandising. And so when I was bored, I would just rearrange the floor, not thinking anything of it. I'm just this bored sales associate in this huge children's department. So fast forward a few months. Yeah, this is my junior year. Fast forward a few months. And Darlene, who ended up being my mentor, comes down. I was always so intimidated by her. She was like one of these. She was like 6'2", like very commandeering woman. She just exuded power and brilliance. And she came down and she wanted to talk to me. And I had just gotten a quarter raise. So I knew I wasn't in trouble because that's kind of a lot. I was like, okay, I'm not in trouble, but why does she want to talk to me? She said, hey, I want to take you to lunch. And I was like, okay. And she's like, we're going to go to lunch tomorrow. So, be here for that. And I'm like, all right. So we go to lunch. She takes me to this really nice restaurant. And we rode in a really nice car. And I was just so like, ooh, what's happening here? And she said that the store manager and the director of sales, because she was the director of merchandising. And she said, the three of us never agree on anything. There's one thing we all agree on, and that's you. And I was like, okay. And she goes, you don't even know. She goes, you have something called golden hands. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. And she said, we've been watching you. And since what you've been doing down in children's, you've taken this from like middle of the road to top 10 in the company.
Wow.
Just from the merchandising. And I'm like, okay. She goes, explain to me your methodology. And so, I'm talking to her about it. She goes, we'd like to offer you a position as a merchandiser. I'm like, okay. So I get a raise. I get moved into accessories, which is the worst in intimate
no.
apparel. Oh my God. You're merchandising like earrings. And,
Right.
I mean, it's like a lot of little pieces, a lot of details. And so she moves me into this department. Fast forward, I end up pretty much doing the same thing there, to the point that buyers are coming in to talk to me to say,
Wow.
what are you doing? Like when you
Wow.
merchandise this, how are you thinking? Because we didn't do, back in those days, you didn't have prototypes for stores yet.
Wow.
That came, but we didn't have them yet. So they wanted to know, like, what is your thought process when you're doing all of these things? So fast forward a little bit longer, we're getting close to, I'm thinking I'm going to the University of Miami, blah, blah, blah. And they approach me and say, we'd like to put you in this training program, but you're going to be the first one. Burdines is owned by Federated Department Stores. You're the first one we've ever done this without a degree.
Oh, nice.
So we're taking a chance on you, but you're going to go down to Miami. You're going to go through something called the University of Burdines. It's for college graduates that are coming in
Wow.
at entry-level management positions. You're going to be down there 6 weeks, stay at the Fontainebleau, blah, blah, blah.
Nice, nice.
And I'm like, all right, let's go. And, I'm 18. I did this after I graduated. I'm 18. I'm doing this with college graduates. We're on South Beach. I can't go out and drink. I can't do any of these things.
Right.
And they all didn't like me
Oh,
because,
yeah.
they didn't like me because I was this young person, and everybody like in the buying office by this point knew me and blah, blah, blah. And they'd come in and do their talks and they're like, Peggy, blah, 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 and all these things. Well, fast forward, I became a buyer. I had no college degree.
Wow.
And I saw my whole life. And then I met my husband because I ended up going back to my original store, and I was running housewares, which I took to number 1 in the company.
Wow.
And I got promoted out of it. I'm 20. It was my 20th birthday. I got promoted out of it. And that day I met Steve, and he was taking over my job. I now was higher than him, and he was coming into my role. And we immediately connected, became friends, the whole 9 yards. I ended up moving to Miami and being in the buying office. He ended up moving back to Ohio because retail was not his bag. Thank the Lord he figured it out. And it was during a recession. He was like the only job he could get because our CEO came from his college, but whatever. So that's a story for another day. But what that taught me, very long story to say, I didn't make that varsity cheerleading. Could have derailed me. Could have just wallowed, could have gone to school and just been miserable. I had lost all my friends because I did make it. And now here I am, I didn't make it. And, everybody's in my mind saying, talking about me and blah, 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 and all these things. But instead, I was like, oh, I followed that prompt. Here's this thing. And then I went and did this thing. And then I said yes to the next thing. And I had no attachment to any outcome all along in this process. I just flowed with it.
Yes.
That failure was the biggest blessing I had when I did not make that cheerleading team. I would not be sitting here across from you having this conversation.
Right.
Had that not happened that day.
Totally.
Course corrected the entire direction of my life.
Right.
That one moment that I never saw coming.
Yeah.
And it took me years to see how that failure was a blessing for me. And that is where you just follow your heart the whole time. And you go, okay, all right, how is this working for me? Everything is working for me. How is this working for me? How do I rise out of this? How do I not let this pull me back into despair and depression and all of the things?
Right. Something in your story that I think is really interesting is when those friends in high school dropped you for making the cheerleading team, the varsity cheerleading team, that stung and burned and hurt. But then when you were, going to this advanced training for college graduates, but you hadn't graduated from college, and then all those people didn't like you, you were like, I got this. This is not my first rodeo being a top dog.
True, such a good
And
point.
then getting the little ones under you are angry and stuff. And I think that's that one experience prepared you for this next.
Yeah, such a good tie-in that I hadn't actually thought about that. So well done, Marci. And it's important to note that 2 years later, I was the only man still standing out of that entire graduating
Yeah.
class of those people. Everybody else had left because they didn't have the resiliency. It's a very tough world.
And you were able to like rise above it and not get like dragged down or obsessed with like people pleasing those people. So when people do like cut you out or walk out of your life, you've got the inner strength to like continue on.
Yeah, it really was preparing me
For
that
sure,
moment because
for
I
sure.
was heavily rejected.
And I think this is a very good point, like in manifesting or goal setting or whatever you want to call it, there will be fumbles. It is not this like perfectly linear path. In some people's fumbles are bigger than others, but it doesn't mean anything's gone wrong. And this is such a good reminder. Don't throw in the towel. Mm-hmm. Don't be like, well, this one didn't work. I guess this is never happening. Manifesting's a bunch of bull honky, whatever. No, I think sometimes that is the biggest blessing.
Yeah.
You
Because
know?
I was manifesting making the cheerleading squad that second time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but we'll talk about this next week, but I was subconsciously blocking it.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that's what I wanted.
Right.
I didn't realize that energetically I had something else going on
Yes.
until I was in the rearview mirror with
Yes.
that, right? But the whole point there is that I thought I was headed in one direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I was manifesting that. And I easily could have said manifestation doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's not working. I wasn't actively thinking about manifestation,
no.
but looking back, if I had been, I would have in that moment thought, oh, manifestation doesn't work. Okay, great. I'm going to go back to white knuckling. I'm going to go back to control. I'm going to go back to only relying on myself because I'm the only one I can count on.
Yep.
But fortunately, for whatever reason, I was in alignment without really knowing because I was willing to say yes to the thing that felt right.
Yes.
So my higher self, my team of light, God was protecting me and guiding me in all the right places, including Darlene, who came in as the mentor I needed at exactly the moment I needed her.
Yes. Right. And like a confidence boost with that too.
Yeah. When I was really lacking confidence, because I had gotten dropped by all my friends. And now I'm on this complete pivot. I had been a cheerleader since 3rd grade. Who was I if I wasn't that?
Right.
Was I still the popular cheerleader? No. My whole identity got stripped from me.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, I had to rebuild everything I believed about myself. So you think, oh, it's not a big deal. It's just a story about a cheerleader not making a cheerleading squad. No, it was an identity crisis in that moment at a time and age that I didn't necessarily have the tools to know how to handle that.
Yes.
So the only thing I can believe in that moment that happened for me is God, the universe, my higher self had my back.
Yeah.
And was saying,
Absolutely.
girl, take this step. And I was like, okay,
Right.
okay.
Yes.
I'll do that next thing and
Yes.
see where it takes me.
I think now we've given some really solid examples, I feel. Mm-hmm. And now you guys know more of our story. But I think now we need to give some very concrete tips on how to let go of the outcome and just trust.
Okay.
When you're trying to this is if this is pillar 3, right? The
This is
belief,
pillar
the
3.
trust, then what are some, if somebody's really struggling with that?
So the first thing that I would say is stop overthinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we overthink our way into control.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do think that comes from a place of doubt where we aren't trusting
I agree.
that that first
That's
nudge
good.
is the right nudge.
Yeah, that's good. And I think also when you overthink, it becomes an obsession, a false idol, and then you're spiraling and it's not the right energy. You're not peaceful and trusting and light.
Mm-hmm.
You're anxious and white knuckling too much.
Mm-hmm.
But so I agree with that though.
Okay, what do you have then?
I feel like give your brain a good problem to solve is huge. Because I think part of it is obsessing about it. You're not making it fun. And how are you going to make it fun? Like, let's say someone's trying to manifest getting a new job.
Okay.
And rather than being like, woe is me, I hate my job, or I miss this other job, what would be some things? What would be some new thoughts?
Oh, gamify it for sure. And just be like, okay, I don't love this job. What do I love about this job? Make a list. What are some things I love about this job? What attracted me to this job in the first place? What am I good at? Make a list of what am I good at? And then if I could do anything in the world, what would I do? Just sky's the limit. If I could be or do anything in the world, what would I do? And that first answer, okay, how do my skill sets match up with that? I just made a list. Here's why I'd be good at that. Let's make a resume that's going to attract that. And can I send it out to 100 places?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's make it fun. Like, I'm going to send 10 a day for the next 10 days.
Yes.
And just see what comes and just sit back and wait.
Right. And I think, like, also, if you enjoy researching that, like research, like what's going to open the right doors, and then try it on for size.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think gamifying it and making it light.
Make it fun.
Yes.
But I think a really important part of that is, okay, you hate your job. You're miserable in your job. Okay, you got to shift that.
Yes, good point.
You got to get out of that energy. So until the next thing comes,
Yeah.
you're out here, you're taking aligned action. You're not taking any action. You've established, like, this is what I would love to do. Because that's another piece we haven't actually talked about in detachment is some really powerful language to use is, wouldn't it be nice to have?
Yeah.
I'd love to have. So it's not saying I have to have. My whole happiness is riding on this thing.
Yes.
I would love to have this. Wouldn't it be nice to have this? Like, I'm going to be fine either way.
Yeah, totally.
But I would love to have this. What job would you love to have? However, you are currently in a job that is paying your bills, that is keeping food on your table, that is keeping you in a stable position. How can you shift your mindset to what is this job teaching me? What lesson am I learning while I am getting ready to transition? I trust it's coming. It is going to come, but there's a lesson here for me, or I wouldn't be here.
Right.
Because I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be at exactly the moment I am supposed to be here. There are no accidents.
That's right.
So there is something here I need to learn. And the sooner I can learn this thing, the sooner the universe is going to go, she's ready to move on.
That's right. I think learn something from that situation, or also and teach something. Who's there? Who can you lift up? Who can you encourage? Who can you educate?
Oh, shift your focus.
Yes.
Show up, do the job, but now what is your day about? Is
Right.
it about the coworker who isn't able to see the joy?
Yes.
And now you bring joy because you go, let's have a little dance party.
Right.
Like, I can remember working at McGowan and Braybender. It's an insurance broker, awesome insurance broker. So shout out, MB. But it's tough.
Yeah.
When you're an account manager and especially we worked in small groups, so employers 50 and under with their health benefits, and we would deliver renewals and all of that. And you would have to go to people and say, look, you're going to have to add another $100,000 to your budget because you just got this huge increase for the year.
Right.
These are small businesses.
Yes.
They don't necessarily have $100,000. So
Right.
are they cutting jobs? Like, what are they doing? How are they making this work?
Yeah.
And so it was our job to get that number down. But initially, you would have to go. And so it was very emotionally difficult because you would get a whole lot of responses from tears to anger to thinking you're the one giving them the increase, not understanding you're the go-between.
Right.
So my job in that was I wanted to bring the fun to our workplace. So we were in a cube farm. And so I would say, okay, we're all setting our alarms. And at this time during the day, we're going to listen to our favorite music, like a song, and we're going to do a little dance party.
Good. Love.
Or, we're going to bring in treats and we're all going to we're going to just stop at 10 o'clock and we're going to have this thing. Like, we did so much fun stuff. Or I would just throw it crazy question into the cube farm. Like, what was the worst kiss you ever had? Or one day we all shared our, the music we danced to with our husbands, our spouses for our first dance.
Cute.
And they were terrible. Like, because we had all the different like eras of music. And it was just like, why would you pick that song? But we all played our songs for each other.
Oh,
and then we
adorable.
like made fun of each other. But, bring the fun.
Right. You be the fun.
Be the magic.
Yes. And I think you made such a good point. Like, if your thought is, quote, I hate my job, or it's a miserable job, that energy is just going to magnify because, like what you put out there is coming right back to you. And if you can find the gratitude around the whole experience and know inside, this is all happening for me, this is all a gift, it's a part of my journey, versus moving the happiness goalpost back further and further and further. I'll be happy when I land the dream job. I'll be happy when I make X amount of money. No, be happy right now, because that's the energy you want to magnetize and draw even more in.
Yeah, it makes you a giant magnet.
Yeah, and that's why this podcast is fun, because we're always having fun.
We are always having fun. Even when it's hard, we are always having fun. Like right now, it's hot in this room, and I'm feeling a little sweaty, but I'm having a great time, and I'm still drinking my coffee, and it's great.
That's right. So, okay, good. Okay, so do we feel like that's enough tips on how to let go? So let's gamify it, reframe your thinking.
How to let go. Oh, I actually think the more we can make ourselves not as susceptible to the energies around us.
That's good.
So grounding. I think making sure you start each day intentionally, however that looks for you.
Yes.
Whether that's 5 minutes of meditation before you get out of bed, or you move your body, you find time to move your body before the day starts, whatever it is for you, or you sit with your journal, or you read 3 pages of a book that helps adjust your mindset, or you listen to a podcast while you're getting ready.
I mean,
Just
this
saying.
podcast, right?
Preferably this one, right? Like, subscribe, share. So shameless plug. But, you've got to find time so that you aren't just out there floating and at the mercy of the energy around you.
Yes. And I think another way to let go of the outcome and like trust it's coming is just let go of controlling anything that's beyond you. Like, you put in your effort. So like back to the job thing. You do the applications, you do the follow-up, you do the thank yous for the interviews, and then let it go.
Can I give a really good example on this real quick? I know we're getting really long here.
No,
but
we're good.
So my youngest daughter, Caroline, shout out, Carol, I love you so much, drove me crazy during her process of trying to find an internship.
Yes.
Mostly because she wasn't. And in my opinion, she should have been. And she was like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And I'm like, how is it going to be fine? Like, you are doing nothing here. And so I'm all over her for like a year and a half, literally. So, summer is coming. As we record this, we are in the beginning of March. We're talking May. She needs to have this lined up for this May.
Yes.
This is her last summer to do an internship. So it's do or die. Nothing.
Okay.
Have you made any calls? Have you set out any resumes? So she did. Finally, she came home at the holidays and, with some gentle prompting on my part, maybe a little threat, she finally sent out some resumes, and she was getting some interviews, but they weren't panning out. Nothing was happening with them. So I was like, okay, we got to send out more. You got to send out more. She's like, I don't know. And she wasn't sure what she wanted to do. And then all of a sudden, she goes, this is what I think I want to do. I'm like, okay, well, who do you know that you can talk to try to see if you can get an internship in that? She's like, well, one of my trainers, because she wanted to do finance for college athletics.
Nice.
She's like, well, I'll talk to one of the trainers. One of the trainers knew someone at another university who she talked to, who loved her, who circled her back and said, I think you need to go back and talk to this trainer and then come back to me. He's like, I love you, but I think this would be your better route.
Avenue. Yeah.
So she goes back. When I tell you how everything fell into place.
Yeah.
Internship at her university in the field she's interested in. That's
beautiful.
Going to pay for her summer education part of her master's that wasn't paid, although she's on full scholarship. Anything in the summer isn't. But because she'll be working there, it's 100% paid. She can
Love
get
it.
ahead for her senior year because she actually, it's not her senior year. She graduates early this year, and then next year she's doing the accelerated master's. Set herself up for all of that. It
Wow.
fell into place. Boom, boom, boom. And
Wow.
over like 3 days.
Wow.
She was not worked up about it. She wasn't trying to control the outcome. She wasn't losing sleep over it. She
Yes.
wasn't letting the pressure everybody else has had for a year and a half
Yes.
to find an internship. She was just out living her life, having fun, going, I'll worry about it when I need to worry about it. And she literally trusted it will all work out the way that it needs to work out.
Nice. And it
I
did.
didn't.
You.
I didn't. I'm going to admit it. I was like, how are you ever going to get a job that's going to ruin your whole life that you didn't do?
Right,
I'm
right.
doom and glooming it, not taking my own advice. And she's like, meh. And she had no attachment to any outcome.
love
She just
it.
took the next step that
Yeah.
made sense, and boom.
Yes.
Yeah,
Perfect.
perfect.
Awesome. Awesome. Great example.
I say the challenge should be carve out time for either or maybe you're driving, or maybe you do carve out time to write it, to write out a list of areas you are recognizing where you hold on, where you try to
that's good.
control the outcome
Yes.
around something, and then make a plan.
Yes.
What's one thing I can release control of this week?
Right.
And then maybe next week you release another thing on that list.
I like it.
And you start to gradually let go of control, because it's not easy to give up control.
No.
And to try to rip the Band-Aid off all at once, it's a gradual thing.
And control feels like safety for some.
does.
But it's a trick. It's not real.
No, it is. I mean, it's definitely a mindset shift. You have to get to that place where you are saying to yourself, I trust, I trust, I trust. But you almost have to sort of prove that trust to yourself too. So like
Yeah.
baby step, where's one place I can release control
I love
that
that.
I can let go?
I love that. All right, good.
Okay.
All right, you got this.
You got this. Okay, that's our shift for today. If this resonated, please share it with a friend.
Help us grow. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen.
And connect with us at No More Bullshift on Instagram and YouTube.
And remember, if you can't laugh about it,
You probably still need to shift it.